This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some major updates to share with you. Looks like Joe Manchin and the Democrats are making some progress with a last-ditch effort on a big package. I'll give you the details on that. And President Biden is supposed to make a huge stimulus announcement this weekend. It may or may not happen, but regarding student loan forgiveness, looks like they gave out some more details about that, and some Democrats are not too happy. We'll talk about the food prices for Memorial Day weekend. Also, latest stimulus news like this. One area giving out $1,400 checks, actually almost 2,000 of them, and new stimulus payments are coming on June 1st if you live in this state, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So Democrats see progress with Manchin in last-ditch talks on Biden economic agenda. Some expect a potential bill could raise roughly $1 trillion in revenue and spend about $500 billion, though the senators' discussions still fall apart. So what's going on? Is this actually happening? Because it was like a few months off where, there was supposed to be something happening, then it wasn't. So U.S. Senator Manchin could back climate provisions in slimmer spending bill, sources say. So the latest that is going on here is plans to revive Build Back Better legislation now revolve around talks between Senator Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin. So it looks like Schumer and Manchin still having talks, and basically they're not really giving much information. They're saying that the talks are going good. Climate legislation is a major priority among many wealthy Democratic donors as well as younger voters. The party needs to turn out in strong numbers. So basically, what this comes down to is what's going to happen for the midterm elections. If the Democrats could pass something big or semi-big or however they project it, then that could help the Democrats out in the midterm elections. So not much more information, just that supposedly progress is being made with Joe Manchin and talks are going on. But I'll keep you updated as soon as I find out more information. Speaking of trying to get votes for the midterm election, Biden is on the verge of canceling at least $10,000 in student loans, but that doesn't mean borrowers will get the relief right away. So another article here. As Biden administration leans toward $10,000 in student loan forgiveness, advocates push back. So there was some news that came out yesterday, Friday, about the $10,000 in student loan forgiveness, and some Democrats were happy with it, some were not. I'll let you know what the Democrats that were not happy with it are saying, but first take a look at this video clip explaining more about what's going on.
All right, some news just in. The Biden administration is planning to cancel $10,000 in student debt per borrower. That is according to sources who spoke with the Washington Post. Two sources said that the latest plans will limit the debt forgiveness to those who earned less than $150,000 individually or $300,000 for married couples filing jointly. The Post says that President Biden had hoped to announce this news this weekend, but those plans changed after this week's school shooting in Texas. We've got somebody with us who maybe can talk a little bit about this right now. Let's bring in Joe Moglia. We're going to talk to him about what's been happening with retail investors, how this is different or the same from what we saw back in the year 2000. But Joe, because you are somebody who also has a lot of experience at Coastal Carolina, at other places where you've taught at higher education places, let me just ask you about this news first. What do you think about the idea of forgiving student loans? And somebody who's worked on both the business side, Merrill Lynch, TD Ameritrade, who has a real good idea about these things, somebody who's seen it at the school level. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, good morning, Becky.
Good morning.
I think, first of all, I don't know how anybody can feel bad if they're going to have part of their loan forgiven. I think one of the things maybe they might want to have considered is, instead of doing $10,000, wind up doing X amount of percent across the board, so people that have greater debt, could get a little bit more of a bigger break rather than somebody that's got less debt. But I think it's a good idea, and I think the fact that you've got income caps on, I think is a good idea. I think it can only be positive.
What about just the idea of, setting this precedent that you take out loans, they're going to be universally forgiven? And there's a whole lot of people who feel like, wait a second, I paid back my loans, and now you're going to ask me as a taxpayer, which these loans aren't forgiven, they don't go away. It's going to be taxpayer debt that bails it out. I paid off my loans, and now I got to pay off somebody else's too?
Well, I think we did this once, and I don't know if we're going to set a precedent. I don't know if we're going to be doing this forever. But I think you make a good point. I mean, you're right. We as taxpayers, in effect, are picking up the bill. But I do think, I feel pretty strongly that, being able to borrow money to be able to go to college is a good thing to be able to do. If you're going to leverage, that's a good reason to do that. And almost everything we do as far as politics go, we talk about people that don't have as much are going to benefit from people that do. So I don't know if we're actually setting precedent. I had to think about that a little bit differently. But I think for now, right now, with where we are, I think it's a good thing.
Let me throw one more thing at you. I mean, it is going to be an inflationary measure. If you are an administration that's most worried about dealing with inflation, I mean, I know you're looking at the lower rungs and wanting to protect them from these things, but it seems to me that if you're dumping that much stimulus back into the economy, it's only going to be adding to the hyperinflation that we're dealing with right now.
Well, I think the other side of that, though, is the people, we talk about whether or not we're really in a recession. Everybody knows we have inflation. But the reality is, I think middle income families in our country already have a recession. This is very, very, very painful to most families in our country. So to be able to give the typical middle class family a bit of a break with regards to the prices and gas where they are and food where they are, transportation where they are, I think that that's a good thing in this era, in this time period.
So the big announcement was supposed to happen this weekend. It still might happen, but due to what was going on in Texas, President Biden and the White House, I think, are delaying it. They might do it, they might not. I'll keep you updated. But some Democrats not too happy with this. AOC blasts Biden for plan to cancel $10,000 of student debt. So why would AOC be unhappy with this? Well, mainly because it's not enough. So Mr. Biden's debt forgiveness basically said he was going to do $10,000 on the campaign trail, but AOC thinks it should be $50,000. So that's why she's unhappy, as well as one other representative here, Thomas Goki, saying it's an absolute insult. This is less than what he promised on the campaign. Well, he did promise the $10,000, but a lot of them want $50,000. So I don't know if you do believe in student loan forgiveness, should it be $10,000 or $50,000 or $0? Where do you stand on that? Let me know down in the comments below. Memorial Day 2022, food prices rise ahead of holiday grill out. So not just because of Memorial Day weekend, but food prices in general are just outrageous, like way too crazy. Take a look at this video clip of what the food prices are now and what they can be in the future.
Welcome back. Well, a barbecue wallet buster, as you no doubt have noticed, it is costing you more for your Memorial Day food this year. Key items like ribs, ground beef, chicken, all up double digits from last year. Joining me right now to talk more about that is Gristedes and D'Agostino's Foods President and CEO, as well as United Refining Company Chairman and CEO, John Catsimatidis. John, good to see you. Happy Memorial Day to you. It's not so happy for those of us who are getting our wallets busted because so much is costing us so much more. How would you assess inflation at the grocery store today?
It's high, and it's going to go higher, Maria. It's because of the cost of doing business in the stores. Labor costs are up, continue to rise. Labor shortages we're short being able to hire people. The manufacturers that deliver to our stores and to all stores, they are increasing costs, and mostly a lot of it, 70% of the transportation that is done for product in all stores in the United States is done by diesel fuel. And the factories are run by diesel fuel. So as that price increases and the talk about shortages in diesel fuel are happening depending on the area, that is showing a significant cost to the consumer. When Britain says they're going to, this morning or the other day, that they're going to increase taxes on the oil companies, that's just fueling the poor and middle class saying, well, we're doing something about it. But it's dumb, because all the companies are going to do is going to pass it on to the consumer. So all it is an additional cost to the consumer.
Even though the CPI at the last reading was up 8.3%, all of the things we buy are up much more than that. Eggs up 18%, meat up 17%, the price of an airline ticket up 33%. So you say it's about oil and diesel at the end of the day. What is it going to take to get oil and diesel prices down?
Well, let's open up North America like we've always said. The British, some of the companies in Europe said to Great Britain, can we drill in the Arctic Ocean? And they said, absolutely not. Meanwhile, China, Russia, they're doing whatever they want. We are being forced not to be competitive in the world. How do you say that in English? I mean, it's plain English. We are being made to be non-competitive. Everything that the Washington has been doing for the last 12, 14 months is making the American consumer poorer, the American poor poorer, the American middle class poorer. And guess what?
Yeah.
We're making the rest of the world richer.
I know that it's costing us all much more this Memorial Day, but you just said it's going to get worse, and that's because we haven't entered the peak driving season, right? Is that the reason? Oil prices get higher, and then inflation follows.
There's about a 30-day lag sometimes between you see prices and the stores or prices at the gas tank. Well, now if you notice, if you look at your screen, gas, crude oil is up to like 115, 116. 30 days ago, it was only 100, 105. So what does that mean? That means you're going to see higher prices 30, 60 days from now.
Got it.
With really high food prices, I'm really curious, has this changed your shopping habits? What are you doing different? Are you cutting back on certain foods? Let me know your thoughts on how you're navigating around the high food prices. It's really scary because a lot of people are skipping meals, especially people on fixed income. They're the ones who need the most help. But let me know what's going on in your life with food prices. Next, let's get into stimulus. So 2,596 apply for Johnson County Direct Assistance Program. When will people get their $1,400 check? So $1,400 checks are going out to over 2,000 people in Johnson County, Iowa. So basically, they had an application process, and they said between 2,300 and 2,400 will end up receiving a check of $1,400. So that's in Johnson County, Iowa. New stimulus payments are coming on June 1st if you live in this state. So this is going on in Maine. So the $850 checks, if you live in Maine, let me know. Have you been notified by checks coming to you? Are you expecting an $850 or $1,700 check? Let me know down in the comments below. So yeah, the money is going out as soon as June 1st for those $850 checks in Maine. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Oh, guys, I didn't see you there. Hi, guys. This is Bella's tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do when you feel something. When you feel something like happy or sad, tell someone. Be exposed. Show the whole world what you feel. Sorry, I was dreaming. So, anyways, that was all I wanted to say for today. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your time and all of your support. So we're going to have a little fun day today. Actually, Bella's friend is in the play Beauty and the Beast, and she's Belle, so we're going to go check out that play later. Really excited about that. Hopefully you have a great weekend, and if you want to check out my latest video on my other channels, you can click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.